evening, hello and welcome. You're with the news today. This is your primetime destination. Newsmakers' talking points. Our big talking point comes from the Citizenship Amendment Act, the contentious legislation finally being notified by the Narendra Modi government. Is it being done with an eye on the polls? What are the benefits of this legislation? Also, the Supreme Court junks the State Bank of India's electoral bond plea, asks for the electoral bonds to be declared by tomorrow. How does that play out now? As always, all the big questions here on the news today. But first, as always, it's time for the 9 headlines. The Citizenship Amendment Act is now a reality. Centre notifies rules for the new act. Opposition hits out, claims the CAA is simply a poll gimmick. Opposition CMs like Mamta Banerjee say they won't implement it in their states. Big blow to the State Bank of India. The Supreme Court junks the SBI's plea to defer rolling out of electoral bonds data. State Bank asked to disclose data to the Election Commission by tomorrow 5 p.m. 2 new election commissioners to be named in 4 days by a 3-member panel led by Prime Minister Modi. Sources say Lok Sabha dates will not be announced till vacancies are filled. The BJP Congress top brass go into a huddle for the 2024 polls. BJP keeps the focus on Karnataka, Gujarat, Bihar, UP. Sources say many sitting Karnataka MPs likely to be dropped. An Atmanirbhar defense boost for India. Prime Minister announces mission Divyastra, the first test flight of Made in India Agni 5 intercontinental ballistic missile. A setback for the Mamta Banerjee government. Supreme Court upholds the Calcutta High Court order on CBI probe into the Sandeshkhali violence, says it will not interfere in it. More relief for Professor G.N. Sai Baba. Supreme Court dismisses Maharashtra government's plea for alleged Maoist links, refuses to stay the Bombay High Court order acquitting Sai Baba over those alleged Maoist links. After Gyanvapi, another ASI survey at Madhya Pradesh's Bhotshala temple now. Madhya Pradesh's High Court allows the survey at the temple's Kamal Maula Mosque complex. Oppenheimer wins big at the Oscars, grabs Best Film Award. Christopher Nolan wins Best Director. Cillian Murphy wins Best Actor. Robert Downey Jr. Best Supporting Actor. But the big story that's breaking this evening, the Narendra Modi government late this evening, a short while ago, has notified the rules for the Citizenship Amendment Act. That's right, the contentious legislation which had led to protests 4 years ago. Those applications for citizenship under the Act to be submitted online on a web portal. The CAA grants citizenship to minorities and illegal migrants from Afghanistan, Pakistan, Bangladesh. Citizenship for those who came before December 31st, 2014 from these countries. It excludes Muslims, but other groups, including Hindu minorities from neighboring countries like Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Pakistan, are included within its purview. The opposition has been quick to question the timing of the notification ahead of the elections, asking why for the last 4 years has the notification not been brought in. Listen in to the reactions coming in to the BJP's decision.
দেখুন, আমরা বারংবার বলেছি যে সিটিজেনশিপ অ্যামেন্ডমেন্ট অ্যাক্ট অর্থাৎ সিএএ এটা তৈরি হয়েছে প্র্যাকটিক্যাল গ্রাউন্ড লেভেলে ইমপ্লিমেন্টেশন হওয়ার জন্য, এবং অসংখ্য মানুষ যারা রয়েছে ধর্মীয়ভাবে প্রতারিত হয়ে যারা ভারতবর্ষে এসে আশ্রয় নিয়েছে তাদের প্রত্যেকের জন্য এই আইন অত্যন্ত ফলপ্রসূ হবে। এবং এই আইন নাগরিকত্ব দেওয়ার আইন, একটা লোকেরও নাগরিকত্ব এই আইনের মাধ্যমে যাবে না, এটা আপনার অন ক্যামেরা আমি নিশ্চিত করে বলে দিচ্ছি।
আধার কার্ড যখন বাতিল করা হচ্ছিল আমরা রুখে দাঁড়িয়েছিলাম, এবং আজও যদি কারো অধিকার কেড়ে নেওয়া হয়, মনে রাখবেন তৃণমূল কংগ্রেস একমাত্র রাজনৈতিক দল সর্বপ্রথম সে আওয়াজ তুলবে, আলোড়ন তুলবে যে মধ্যরাতে এমন কিছু করবেন না। এটা ফ্রিডম অ্যাট মিডনাইট নয়, এটা বিজেপির পরিকল্পনা ছলনা। সাহস থাকলে আপনি 6 মাস আগে দিতেন, 4 বছর অপেক্ষা করতে হলো কেন? আর হঠাৎ ইলেকশনের আগে নানা রকম বুলি আউড়ে বেড়াচ্ছেন। তো কে নিয়ে কি করবে আমার ডাউট আছে। আমি সবাইকে বলবো চিন্তা করবেন না, ভয় পাবেন না, কোনো মানুষকে বঞ্চিত হতে আমরা দেব না, এনআরসি করতে দেব না।
The way they are trying to bring it today is to make the election polarized. Mr. Modi is losing. He is going to be below 220. Therefore, he is trying to polarize it. The last weapon is CAA rules and to divert from the real issue of electoral bonds, in which the Supreme Court of India slapped the SBI, and today they are asked them to submit the details. It's a diversionary tactics.
तो अब ये सब करके हिंदू मुसलमान करेंगे, भारत पाकिस्तान करेंगे, भारत बांग्लादेश करेंगे। एक खेल, आखिरी खेल उनका चल रहा है। चलने दो, लागू होने दो। 370 भी हटाया, क्या किया कश्मीर में? कश्मीरी पंडित आ गए घर में। ये खेल करते रहते हैं लोग। अभी जब तक चुनाव है तब तक सीए खेलेंगे, खेलने दो।
आदरणीय गृह मंत्री जी ने पहले ही बताया था कि लोकसभा इलेक्शन से पहले सीए का रूल्स रेगुलेशन चालू हो जाए, तो चालू हो गया। हम जो बोलते हैं वो करते हैं। अब किसी की इससे तकलीफ नहीं है, सब आनंद भी आनंद में है, लेकिन हमारे मुख्यमंत्री को नींद नहीं आ रहा है, यही तकलीफ है उनकी।
कानून तो 5 साल पहले पास हो गई थी, लेकिन एक रूल्स बनाने में, रेगुलेशन बनाने में 5 साल क्यों लग गया? जो सरकार कहती है प्रधानमंत्री 19 घंटा काम करते हैं, तो 19 घंटा काम करने वाली सरकार 5 साल लग जाते हैं रूल्स बनाने में। चुनाव के पहले जिन लोगों को वो वादा किए थे कि हम नागरिकता देंगे, और जिसको पहले वो गाली देते थे कि वो इलीगल माइग्रेंट है, बांग्लादेशी घुसपैठिया है, ये आरएसएस कहती थी। अब चुनाव के वक्त उनके वोट लेने के लिए वो कहे कि तुमको हम नागरिकता देंगे, लेकिन ऐसे वो नागरिकता दे नहीं सकते, इसलिए रूल्स बनाए। रूल्स बना करके वो चुनाव पार कर लेंगे, और एक तरफ कुछ लोगों को कहेंगे हम तुम्हारे नागरिकता को छीन रहे हैं, और कुछ लोगों को कहेंगे हम तुम्हें नागरिकता दे रहे हैं। ये कोई लॉजिक तो ही है बच्चों का कि वो डाल देंगे।
Okay, so there's lots of controversy over the manner in which that notification has been made, but let's raise the big questions. Is the Citizenship Amendment Act notification only being done with one eye on the general elections that will be announced in the next week? Citizenship Amendment Act, is it discriminatory, or is it the right of illegal immigrants or refugees? Will the CAA become an election issue this time or not? Joining me now is Sudhanshu Trivedi, the BJP's MP and spokesperson. Also joining me in a moment will be Shantanu Sen, the Trinamool Congress's MP. But first you, Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi, as you can see, the opposition is questioning this entire issue on timing. They say that an act which was passed by both houses of parliament in December 2019, for 4 years the government sits on it, and then suddenly, few days before general elections are announced, notifies it. That this is being done purely with an eye on the election. It's a gimmick. It's not about actually empowering citizens, empowering illegal immigrants or refugees.
Rajdeep, when they talk about December 2019, they make their claim itself ridiculous when they try to connect it with the elections. Was December 2019 was run up to the election? No, sir. It was finally notified in January 2020, just 6 months after the election. And subsequently, 2 years have gone in COVID. And then the certain legal questions and other thing has to be settled down, and the certain preparation has to be made. Now it is being done. And to my surprise, sir, it is the resolution of the various political parties. It was a resolution of Tarun Gogoi government in July 2014 urging the Modi government that they should provide citizenship to the, you know, what word? Hindu and Buddhist. And in 2015, Assam Congress Committee passed a resolution in favor that the minorities, and they mentioned the word Hindu, Sikh and Buddhist. I am unable to understand, sir. On 18th of December 2003, Dr. Manmohan Singh, as leader of the opposition, states on the floor of the House, referring to then Home Minister Shri L.K. Advani, that the Sikh and Hindus should be given the citizenship. And not only this, I would like to quote, in 2003, there was a committee set up for the Citizenship Amendment Act. You know who was the head of the committee? Shri Pranab Mukherjee. You know who was the member? Lalu Prasad Yadav, Kapil Sibbal, Janeshwar Mishra. And they have a given recommendation that the minorities of Pakistan and Bangladesh should be given citizenship. And on point number 9 of that committee, they have clearly mentioned and duly signed by all those that the majority community of these countries should not be given. So the problem is, today there is a crisis of credibility about the political leaders. And these leaders create this situation कि अब लोगों के दिमाग में आता है कि नेता कहते कुछ है और करते कुछ है.
लेकिन फिर भी सर आपने इतिहास और सो कॉल्ड डबल स्टैंडर्ड्स के बारे में बात की, बट आई स्टिल विल रिपीट दिस क्वेश्चन वन मोर टाइम. The fact is, as you admit, this was passed in Parliament in December. There was COVID in 2020 and 2021, but even COVID should not have stopped the notification, should not have stopped the implementation of CAA. The question is, why now? When you do it just a few days before elections, people will say that this is all linked to trying to somehow or the other make CAA another issue to polarize people. We need to polarize people before the election, claim that we are standing up for Hindu refugees, but why couldn't you do it in 2020? Why did you wait till 2024, sir?
Okay. Rajdeep ji, I want to make it very clear, it is not for Hindus, it is for Hindu, Sikh, Buddhist, Parsi and Isai. Now I want my opponent to clearly and unequivocally explain that how does this polarize? I want a clear-cut answer. How does they form the inference that giving citizenship to the persecuted minorities, Hindu, Sikh, Buddhist, Christians and Zoroastrians become polarizing issue? Kindly they should explain.
Okay. Shantanu Sen, you should explain that, because your Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee today said she will not implement CAA in Bengal. What's the fear? The fact is, A, it's a central legislation. So you can't say Bengal will not implement it. It's a central legislation. B, according to Sudhanshu Trivedi, the fact is that, are you saying that refugees who, according to Sudhanshu, should be seen as persecuted minorities in neighboring countries should not get citizenship rights? When the UPA was in power, they too were in favor of granting them citizenship rights, and you were part of that government.
Rajdeep, Sudhanshu Trivedi ji also knows the fact very well, but he has got no other way than to speak in favor of this. You tell me, in 2019, in the month of December, this bill was bulldozed in Parliament. Then it was supposed to be completed by June 2020. They applied for extension for 9 consecutive times, despite having action from our President of India. And now, before this election, they are doing this Jumla.
No, but what is your opposition, sir? What is your primary opposition? Is it about timing? Is it about content? I want clarity from you. What is your principal opposition?
Our party's principal opposition is, which has been clearly mentioned by our party supremo, Madam Mamata Banerjee. We do believe that whosoever is living and staying in our country since long, they are exercising their voting right in electing central or state government. They are enjoying all the constitution given facilities. They are already the citizens of our country, and they do not need to prove their citizenship any further. And so on the contrary, and once again, and we have also said, if this CAA deprives any community from their any right, we are going to fight tooth and nail. And our party supremo has once again said this afternoon in the press conference that we opposed this CAA. We have been opposing and we will be opposing in the coming days.
Let me get it very clear. Are you saying that you want citizenship to be given to all, whether it's a Matua Hindu from the scheduled caste community who has come in before 2014 and a Muslim who has come in from Bangladesh? Are you saying both deserve it? I want clarity.
Everyone knows that BJP is once again in a mode to play this religion card before election. And once again, I do repeat, it's very clear, it's crystal clear, it's loud and clear.
No, answer my question. Are you saying whether you are a Bangladeshi Muslim who has come into Bengal or whether you are a Matua community who has come in from Bengal, both deserve citizenship if they have spent 5 years before 2014 as the bill envisages?
I think I failed to convince you. Our point is, whosoever is staying in our country since long and exercising their every right, they are already citizens and they don't need to prove further regarding their citizenship.
Okay. Sudhanshu Trivedi, let's come to the other, therefore, point. The point which is being made, the other criticism is that this essentially, Sudhanshuji, divides Hindus and Muslims, because if, like, and I gave the example, if someone has come into Bengal, whether he's a Muslim or she's a Muslim or a Hindu, if they've stayed a particular period of time, who have been deemed in the past illegal immigrants, why should only Hindus get that benefit? Why should Muslims also not? Is the point being made?
First, I would like to say, Mr. Shantanu Sen is a respected member of parliament. He's a lawmaker. From where he has drawn a conclusion that giving citizenship to any persecuted person from neighboring state has anything to do with the existing citizens of this country and their citizenship. This is the provocative and polarizing things on the solely 100% false propaganda. He cannot connect any line in between. Now coming to your question, what you have said, that all should be given. We have not said that we will not give anyone. After our government came into power, more than 500 Muslims from Pakistan and Bangladesh have got the citizenship, including Adnan Sami. One thing that they cannot claim under the category of religious persecuted. They can claim on n number of other categories. These Hindu, Sikh, Buddhist, Christians and Zoroastrians can claim under the category of religious persecuted. And not only this, sir, I would like to remind, this was the same Mamata Banerjee in 2005. Before our government came, from not in the entire parliamentary history of 1947, but for the time of Viceroy's Executive Council, never would have been a scene when file has been thrown on the chair of the speaker. Mamata Banerjee was so much in anguish that then Speaker Somnath Chatterjee was not allowing discussion on the issue of the Bangladeshi infiltrators. And it was her resolve that they should be thrown out. And she became in so much anguish that she has broken all the things. And now the same Mamata Banerjee is saying, I will not allow anybody to go outside, sir. Isliye there is a crisis of credibility.
No, you raise a very, again you expose.
देख तेरे संसार की हालत क्या हो गई भगवान, कितना बदल गया इंसान.
सर कितना बदल, सर ये बड़ा अच्छा इंटरेस्टिंग. सर एक मिनट, ये कितना बदल गया इंसान can also operate to the BJP. Your Assam BJP has repeatedly said, that the Citizenship Amendment Act is against the principles of the Assam Accord. The Assam BJP has repeatedly said that we should not be giving citizenship to Bengali Hindus who we see as illegal immigrants. So you have one rule for Assam, another rule for Bengal. So just as Mamata Banerjee's double standards are being exposed by you between 2005 and 24, what about the BJP's double standards? सब बदल गए सर, सब इंसान बदल जाते हैं सत्ता में आके.
अरे सर बताता हूं, सुनिए सर नहीं सर, राजीव जी, I would like to quote. On 18th of May 1949, Jawaharlal Nehru wrote to Gopinath Bardoli कि ये जो स्टैंड है कि बांग्लादेश से आने वाले मुस्लिमों को देना है और हिंदुओं को नहीं देना है या बंगाली हिंदुओं को डिस्क्रिमिनेट करना है, it is wrong. I am quoting the letter of Jawaharlal Nehru. He had said, now Congress is taking against this stand. We say that we are now open to everybody. We have taken certain decisions on which our state units were against. Like the land boundary agreement between Bangladesh and India. Our Assam unit was against. Our Bengal unit was against. But in the interest of country, we have taken a decision and ultimately those units have also succeeded. We are not giving any discrimination. But
no, sir, but you are admitting that your Assam Assam BJP has a different view to the Bengal BJP. This is the problem. You see, in Assam, you have a different rule because it suits your politics there. Or you wanted to bring in a different rule. In Bengal, you had a different way of doing politics. Now you are saying we've unified it all. Are you convinced that therefore Assam BJP, will the Assam BJP or the Assam government now respect this decision? And all Bengali Hindus who have come in before 2014 will get citizenship automatically?
Rajdeep ji, I have quoted the resolutions of the Congress government of Assam and the Congress Working Committee resolution. Kindly quote a BJP government resolution. I'm not talking about his statements. One leader has given another. Kindly quote the resolution of the BJP Executive Council and kindly quote the resolution of the BJP government. So then we should talk properly. That this is their stand, this is our stand. Instead of isolatedly taking one stand, one statement or the other statement, that creates a little bit of confusion. Right. But again, I am like to ask to Mr. Shantanu Sen, kindly explain what is the point of polarization.
Shantanu Sen, explain. Why do you say this will polarize, or is it that you are also playing Muslim vote bank politics? Just as you are accusing BJP of playing Hindu vote bank politics, Mamata Banerjee and the TMC stand accused of playing Muslim vote bank politics.
Rajdeep, I will say 2 points. Number one, my colleague was talking about Adnan Sami, and I want to remind him, one famous Muslim singer from Bangladesh, he was not allowed to perform in a BJP ruled state. And finally, he could perform in our state of West Bengal, number one. Number two, if you go to Assam till now, as of now, you can see the actual condition of the detention camp. How many persons they have already died? How many children they have already died? In our state of West Bengal, our Chief Minister, Madam, has categorically said, we are not going to allow this type of detention camp. We are not going to allow any community
Are you
who
playing
would
Muslim
be
vote bank
deprived by
politics?
this CAA.
No. Are you playing Muslim vote bank politics? Is the charge effectively
Certainly
that
not.
Sudhanshu is making? So why do you think it will polarize? Why do you think CAA will polarize people?
You tell me why just few days before the notification of election? Why not before? Why not before? Like they after earning 75,000 crores of rupees, they are decreasing the value of gas cylinder by 100 rupees prior to the election notification. Similarly, our publicity master, Mr. Prime Minister, is coming out with this CAA just few days before the day of notification. Why so?
Okay. You know, the principal argument, therefore, Sudhanshu, remains simply this. I think every opposition leader, from what I can gather, the principal objection is that before the election, you're bringing back the CAA to try in some way to once again change the narrative. At the moment, electoral bonds has been a setback for the government. An election commissioner suddenly resigning has raised question marks. You want to change the narrative before the elections is the principal charge. I'll give you one more attempt to try and resolve that question for Shantanu Sen and the opposition's contentment.
Okay. Whatever Mr. Shantanu Sen has said, I will reply point by point from the beginning what I said. The principle of his party has become very clear. He is comparing Adnan Sami, who is now an Indian citizen Muslim, and he is saying that the Bangladeshi citizen was not allowed to perform and their state welcomed it. So you are having more sympathy towards a Bangladeshi citizen rather than an Indian citizen, despite both of them.
An artist is an artist.
Now coming to that. You know,
an artist is an artist.
Okay, let him finish. Yes, go ahead. Finish, Sudhanshu.
Rajdeep ji, you know why Mamata Banerjee has drifted away from Congress. The reason lies somewhere this. When Rahul Gandhi started his Nyaya Yatra, her social media team has posted, look at the crowd. And the maximum crowd was there in Assam, Dhubri, Barpeta, Karimganj area. And in West Bengal, when they entered, their biggest rally was in Malda. These are the areas, Dhubri, Barpeta, Karimganj, Malda are the highly Bangladeshi infiltrated, dominated state. But this is the problem. And Shantanu Senji's party's chief election strategist in 2021 Vidhan Sabha election has given an official statement that our counting starts with 30%. हमारी गिनती 30% से शुरू हो जाती है. So साहब किसी के मन में कोई किंतु परंतु नहीं है. There is if and but कि what they are trying to say. But unfortunately I would like to say one sentence. ये जो हो रहा है ये इतना दुखद है कि जिन लोगों ने देश के लिए इतना कुर्बानी दी है, जिन लोगों ने इतना सहा है, मैं अटल जी की कविता की एक पंक्ति कोट करना चाहता हूं. राजदीप जी 15 अगस्त का दिन कहता आजादी अभी अधूरी है, सपने सच होने बाकी हैं, रावी की शपथ न पूरी है. जिनके पैरों पर सर रखकर आजादी भारत में आई वो अब तक है खाना बदोश, गम की काली आंधी छाई. हिंदू कहने के कारण यदि तुमको लाज है आती तो सीमा के उस पार चलो सभ्यता जहां कुचली जाती. इसलिए स्वतंत्रता को सार्थक करने कमर कसे अभियान करें, जो पाया उसमें खो न जाएं, जो खोया उसका ध्यान करें. तो जो खोया है हम उसका भी ध्यान कर रहे हैं. बट अनफॉर्चुनेटली आप लोगों को तो खोया पाया के बीच में केवल वोट का खोया पाया करना है और भाजपा से नहीं आपस में भी एक दूसरे से हिसाब करना है.
I want to ask both of you though one final time, and you Sudhanshu first. Do you believe that a Bangladeshi Hindu therefore has greater citizenship rights if he comes in through the border before 2014, and a Bangladeshi Muslim, both of whom may have been deemed illegal immigrants up to now, does not have the same rights? Am I clear? That a Bangladeshi Hindu, as far as you are concerned, has different rights to a Bangladeshi Muslim. Correct? Sudhanshu ji, correct?
Now can I answer?
Yes.
Rajdeep, just one question. Does Bangladeshi and Pakistani Hindus are having equal right as Muslims there? Say yes or no. Because that is a declared Islamic state. Kindly say yes or no.
I am asking you, you're therefore saying a Bangladeshi Hindu who you say, even if he's an economic refugee as a Bangladeshi Muslim, you're saying that there's a distinction, they are persecuted, it's an Islamic state, and therefore they deserve those benefits. Shantanu sent to you the same question. Do you believe a Bangladeshi Hindu who comes in as an economic refugee should be treated differently to a Bangladeshi Muslim who also may come in as an economic refugee?
Rajdeep ji.
I have got 2 points. Number one, in our state of West Bengal, our government works for each and every caste, creed, and religion. Number two, in reply to Sudhanshu Trivedi ji, our Indian constitution speaks about dovetailing of religion. It never says that India is a Hindu Rashtra. So you cannot compare the Islamic State along with India, because in India, each and every religion has got the equal right to stay here peacefully, which is being disturbed by your BJP regime.
30 seconds, Sudhanshu, you are raising your hand. Go ahead.
Just one sentence. That's why I am saying he said very correct. I am unable to understand that when it is written Hindu, Sikh, Buddhist, Zoroastrian and Isai, how come he relate the Sikh, Isai and Jain as Hindu Rashtra? But one thing, yes, we are the secular state in this country, in this area, Afghanistan, Pakistan and Bangladesh. So as a secular state, it is incumbent duty on our part to provide shelter to those who are facing religious persecution. We are not saying that we will not give citizenship to others, but they cannot claim under the category of religious persecution. And if there is
that is inherently discriminatory. Sir, that is inherently discriminatory.
And now they have become
with due regard, sir, that is inherently discriminatory.
persecution नजर नहीं आता
है, जब आपने exclude एक
community, चश्मा बदलने की जरूरत है.
जब आप एक community को exclude करते हैं and you use all the other communities, it will be seen as inherently discriminatory. You believe that's not the case. You believe that this is religious persecution.
Rajdeep ji,
yes.
बहुत अच्छा सवाल है.
Yes.
Very good question. Very good question. Yes, I want to reply.
Yes.
मुझे बड़ा आश्चर्य लगता है जब वो कहते हैं बांग्लादेशी और पाकिस्तानी मुस्लिमों को भी मिलना चाहिए. एक तरफ तो कहते हैं मुसलमानों को डर लगता है और दूसरी तरफ कह रहे हैं उनको भी मिलना चाहिए. Let them say that the Muslims of Pakistan and Bangladesh feels more safe in Modi's India than the Nizam-e-Mustafa of Pakistan and Bangladesh. At least they should say that, then we can consider also.
Okay, let me leave it there. There are constitutional questions also. There are questions of human rights here involved. And there are, of course, questions over double standards of our politicians. But on the eve of elections, this is what happens. Sudhanshu Trivedi, Shantanu Sen, for joining me and giving us a sense of a debate without crosstalk. I really appreciate it from both of you. Thank you very much for joining me and giving us your respective positions. Let me turn from there to the other big story. Here we will not allow any weapons of mass diversion to divert us, because the real big story also came this morning when the State Bank of India in the electoral bond case was pulled up by the Supreme Court. The court junked the State Bank's plea to defer rolling out electoral bond data. The bank will now have to comply and submit all the donor details to the Election Commission by 5 p.m. tomorrow. Not just that, the CJI has warned the State Bank of India that they will face contempt of court proceedings if they fail to meet the deadline once again. It's our other big story. Take a look.
A big blow to State Bank of India in poll bonds case. Supreme Court on Monday pulled up India's biggest bank for delaying revealing details of electoral bonds despite the earlier SC order. The SC junked SBI's plea seeking time till June 30 and asked it to share data by Tuesday. The poll panel has been asked to upload the data on its website by 5 p.m. on Friday.
SBI is directed to disclose the details by the close of the business hours, 12 March 2024. Full stop. As regards the ECI, we direct that ECI shall compile the information and publish the details in its official website no later than by 15 March by 5 p.m. on 15 March 2024.
The top court warned that if SBI fails to adhere, it will face contempt proceedings.
Bearing in mind the application which was submitted for extension of time, we place SBI on notice that this court may be inclined to proceed against it for willful disobedience of the judgment if SBI does not comply with the directions of this court as set out in its judgment dated 15 February 2024 by the timelines indicated in this order.
But in a big relief for SBI, which cited humongous amount of data, the top court allowed it to furnish two lists. First list of donors and denominations of poll bonds, and the second list of bonds redeemed by political parties. SBI doesn't have to connect the two lists, which will effectively block linking specific donors to individual parties.
The State Bank of India will not be providing any details on which donor has donated the money to which political party, essentially meaning that there will be no matching between the two sets of data, and there will be no data on which political party has received the amount from which particular donor. Keeping this in mind, it comes as a sigh of relief not just for Bharatiya Janata Party, which has been the biggest beneficiary of the electoral bond scheme, but all of the other political parties that might have been shifty about the details of who has been donating the money for their political activities.
While Congress staged protests at an SBI branch in Bengaluru, party MP Rahul Gandhi called poll bonds the biggest scam and Modi's donation business.
SBI द्वारा 4.5 महीने मांगने के बाद साफ हो गया कि मोदी सरकार अपने काले करतूतों को पर्दा डालने का कोशिश कर रहे हैं। 4 महीने क्यों होना? आपके पास तो डाटा है और डाटा का मास्टरी आपने किया है। 1-2 हजार लोग दिए होंगे बॉन्ड्स, 3 उतने लोगों की लिस्ट नहीं मिलती आपको।
Will SC ruling ensure complete transparency in funds used in elections? With Kanu Sharda in Delhi, Bureau Report, India Today.
So will we now see a step forward being taken in the desperate need to make our election financing more transparent? Has SBI been caught on the wrong foot? Joining me now, Trilochan Shastri, Chairman, Association for Democratic Reforms. They've been one of the petitioners in the court. Subhash Chandra Garg is once again back with us, former Finance Secretary. Gopal Shankar Narayan is one of the country's leading advocates, Senior Advocate, Supreme Court. Let me come to you, Mr. Garg. I recall a week ago you were on this show with me and you said, look, SBI just needs 24 hours to provide all these details. Today the SBI said, look, matching details between who's given, who's purchased these bonds and who's encashed them will take us 3 months. The court said at least provide the basic details. Are you satisfied with what you saw today in the court? Has the SBI, according to you, been caught out?
See, the Supreme Court had asked precisely what the details they have been directed again today to provide earlier on 15th of February. The court never asked the SBI to provide the details of matching which electoral bond was bought by whom and was given to which political party. That and therefore today's judgment is a reiteration of exactly what was directed on 15th of February. What SBI tried to sort of divert or meander its way through by sort of confusing that we will be able to match, or we require, it's a complex process, we will need time to match, and therefore 4 months, taking it beyond the election time. That has been caught out, the bluff has been called off, so to say.
You're saying SBI's bluff has been called out. Those are important words. A former finance secretary is saying India's leading banks' bluff has been called out. But Trilochan Shastri, the fact is the court has also made it very clear SBI does not need to provide matching details. They don't need to match the purchaser of the bond, corporate or individual, with the political party. So in that sense, even if you get the details by Friday this week and they are put out on the ECI website, how will that further the need to know the quid pro quos taking place in our politics?
I don't know, Rajdeep, but there are hundreds of analysts, journalists, data analysts who are going to look at this. So are we going to look at it? And you know, there are time windows during which these electoral bonds are notified. So say before an assembly election, there is a period of 15 days to 1 month during which electoral bonds can be purchased and redeemed. And there's a 15-day time limit before which a party has to redeem it. So people will start making the best conclusions they can. However, your larger question is correct. So from ADR side, we are not for immediate solutions. We welcome this Supreme Court judgment because it is a step forward. And we respect the State Bank of India also, because the State Bank of India is India's largest bank. It has 48 crore account holders, where India has only 25 crore householders. So there's almost like so India, it's a national institution which we respect, and it probably felt that they had to match it, and that was clarified by the court. However, the jury is out. We can still go back to the court or find some other mechanism to say that at least by 30th June or whatever date the Supreme Court had, the SBI had said, you give us that matching. So we are not worried about this election, this party, that party. We are interested in the overall improvement of democracy, and we see that this is definitely happening.
So this
and
is
we have a lot of patience, so we are willing to wait for.
Well, you've had a lot of patience, and a lot of credit to you and your group for pursuing this case. I think the country owes you a huge debt for doing what you've done to make the process.
Rajdeep, I want to make one more comment.
Yes, go ahead.
We started this petition in 2018. On January 2nd, 2018, the electoral bond scheme was announced, with all that amendment of 4 laws and passing of the Finance Act through the money bill. Let's not get into all those legal details. We filed a petition in 2018, in early 2018, and we have got this judgment after 6 years. So we are patient. So
we are patient, sir.
Moving ahead.
Sir, ummeed pe duniya kayam hai. In India, justice is often delayed, not denied. But you are making an important point that you believe this is a first step, and therefore by June 30th, maybe we can even get the matches done between who purchased the bond and who are the beneficiaries.
We are not worried about whether it is going to affect the poll prospects of this party or that party. That is not our intention.
Okay, point taken.
Our intention is to improve democracy so that voters have all the information that they require, which the Supreme Court has also upheld. So better late than never.
Gopal Shankar Narayanan, could the court have
75 years of democracy?
Gopal Shankar Narayanan, could the Supreme Court have gone further? Many are saying the Supreme Court could have gone a bit further in ensuring that State Bank of India didn't just give the details, but also did the matching before the general elections take place.
Yeah, Rajdeep, I think the Supreme Court could have gone further, not only with today's order, but even with its main judgment. The normal process when you strike down something and hold it as illegal is to reverse the illegality. So I believe the main judgment by which the Constitution bench struck down the electoral bond scheme stopped short of directing a refund of all the amounts that were received through this illegal process. It should have gone further and gone that far. But as far as today's order is concerned, I think I'm in agreement with the fact that the court could have gone further to give a deadline by which this matching apparently of the data was done and released. The operative part of today's order effectively just redraws the timelines, gives a couple of days more for both the SBI, they have time till tomorrow, and the ECI to put up the details on the website. I think one will be grappling on the evening of 15th March with the details that are put up on the ECI's website and trying to parse it and figure out what exactly it does say. I think it is going to be complex. And I think if the Supreme Court doesn't give a direction for the matching of data and putting it out to SBI with a very clear deadline, there will be very little point to having this data out in the first place. Having said that, in today's hearing, in fact, a specific question was put to SBI when they were arguing this application by Justice Gawai, saying that, look, what are the steps that you took from 15th February till today when you woke up and suddenly came with an application? At least you would have looked at some of those 22,000 bonds by now, to which there was no satisfactory response. I'm presuming they would have got at least 10, 15, 20 of those data in separate silos, as Mr. Salve put it, which could have been coordinated and figured out. There's no satisfactory answer, and even now the answer is silence. So I think we could have gone further with this.
In that sense, Subhash Garg, are you disappointed that SBI gave this response? Look, all of these are in different silos. That's why we can't match it. Is that a credible response, or do you believe SBI deserves the benefit of doubt on that?
See, the way the whole scheme was designed and implemented, there is no way, and I'm saying it with responsibility, there is no way SBI can match it. The bonds carry no identifier. There is no way you can identify which bond was bought by whom and was deposited by which party. So these three things, the bond, the buyer, and the political party was deposited, cannot be matched. So
no, you're saying it cannot be matched even by 30th of June?
Absolutely. That is the reason I was saying this was the bluff. That is the reason why no one in 26 days, they have not been able to match. They didn't attempt even to match even a single one. So the point is that it cannot be matched, even if people go back to the Supreme Court later on, asking that give them more time to do it. They will not be able to do. The only way probably the conjectures can be made is that the data analytics linking that in this particular tranche, these bonds were bought. Let us say of 700 odd crores in the first in one tranche, and the political parties deposited these 700 crores that bifurcation would be available. So people may make some conjectures that this bond might have come from this company to this company. But there is no way an exact match can be made for each bond between the buyer and the...
No, exact matches can't be made, but presumably, Tarlochan Shastri, as you said, data analytics will look at them very carefully. And if I find that a particular corporate has given an excessive number...
Rajdeep, I want to respond to...
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Mr. Shastri.
Rajdeep, give me a minute.
Yes.
And, I think based on the information that Mr. Garg has, he's absolutely right. But we have a journalist, and we have submitted this in writing to the Supreme Court in our contempt petition, and the Supreme Court has referred to it in today's judgment in passing. What is that? You can buy a bond. So one journalist bought 2 bonds for 1,000 rupees each and gave it to a forensic lab, and under ultraviolet light, the numbers are revealed. Now, there are 2 issues here. If India's biggest bank is issuing promissory and bearer bonds, which the RBI has said is not correct. The RBI had objected very strongly in writing to the electoral bond scheme. Still we went ahead, and then we have issued these promissory notes which are almost, if not fully, in the nature of currency, and we are saying we cannot trace who gave how much money to whom. This is not acceptable. This is wrong. This is not good banking practice. Okay. This is not the way bank should be run, because secondly, as we have very solid evidence that under ultraviolet rays, the numbers can be caught. I mean, you can get the numbers and you can match them.
Subhash Garg wants to respond to you.
No, let me just finish.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Mr. Garg, respond.
Let him.
See, please. This is correct that the bonds carry a secret number in its body, which can be seen under the ultraviolet lights. This was built as a security feature. This was not recorded anywhere, and therefore this cannot be used as an identifier. Let us say this journalist who bought a particular bond with this particular number, now it is when he bought it against his purchase, that number was not noted anywhere. So the end result of the entire process is that whether secret or non-secret, no number is recorded in favor of the purchasers who bought it or the depositors who got it. So despite the fact of this secret number, you cannot match the buyer with the...
Okay, so that's one issue, the matching issue. But Gopal Shankar Narayan, the other vital issue is that of the Supreme Court's role in ensuring...
True.
Okay, I take two viewpoints, but Gopal Shankar Narayan, what can therefore the Supreme Court do beyond what they did today to ensure that our public life in a sense is made more transparent and the public's right to know is enhanced? I want to know, what are these quid pro quos involved? As a citizen, do you believe that the court therefore should now take the next step logically?
No, look, I think if what Mr. Garg is saying is right, then the SBI, and they've named the chairman and managing director, have put themselves in a very, very difficult position. If this is true, I mean, this is technical and I will defer to Mr. Garg and Mr. Shastri on this. If there is no way of collating these two silos, then SBI didn't say that to the court. SBI didn't come on the last day and say, look, we can't coordinate this. They said we can do it. We are able to do it. We just don't have enough time. So if this is true, that they can't do it, that game has been played and gone, and that doesn't exist anymore for SBI to say. SBI clearly says they can do it. I would like to believe SBI because they've said that to the Supreme Court. I gravely doubt that Mr. Salve and his client would have misled the Supreme Court. Let's believe that what they said was the truth and they can put it together. If they can put it together, all we need is a deadline by which they will put it together and give that information to the court. After that, public-spirited individuals can look at the timing of when these electoral bonds were issued, when they were encashed, and figure out whether it coordinates with any programs, whether any airport contracts being given or anything else, which could show a possible quid pro quo. Even establishing that in a court of law will be difficult, but I'm sure one would find a way.
Okay. Well, it's a step forward. I think let's be very clear. What the court has done is a step forward. Whether it has called...
I want to make one statement.
30 seconds, sir.
See, one is that, the Supreme Court was told by the SBI, as the Learned Counsel just told us, that they can do it. So it is a presumption for which we have no data that the numbers were never recorded. Okay. Number two, we have to get the big picture. Electoral bonds are finished. Whatever happens in 2024 elections is for the people of India to decide. But in future, this cannot happen. So it's a giant step forward for transparency.
But the question will be, and this we can keep for a separate debate, is what do you replace it with? Electoral bonds may be junk. They may be deemed unconstitutional. The larger question will remain,
Rajdeep,
how are we going to clean up
hold a show.
We will do that. I promise you, this is an issue I will continue to track. Because unfortunately, and I say this with an element of sadness, many of our news channels in particular have chosen to, in their own way, junk the election bond issue. But that's for their conscience to answer as to why they do not stand up for a more transparent system. But we will see how to make that system more transparent, take more ideas from our guests. Gopal Shankar Narayan, Subhash Garg, Tarlochan Shastri for joining me tonight. Thank you very much. Let's turn to tonight's Get Real India story, a story that... our next story, that of an 8-year-old Subhajit Sahu from Odisha, whose parents have selflessly donated his organs as a noble act for saving lives. This after their 8-year-old son passed away following a brain seizure. In some ways, this is a story that reflects just how the human spirit works. Take a look.
Hello, Bidi Patti. My name is Subhajit Sahu. I am a doctor. I take care of my patients.
8-year-old Subhajit Sahu is no more. But his memories will live on through those who got a new life because of his noble deed. After Subhajit passed away, his parents decided to donate multiple organs to needy patients.
हम सोचे कि आजकल की दुनिया में जो जला देते हैं, गाड़ देते हैं, उसको नहीं करके उसका जो ऑर्गन्स, वाइटल्स ऑर्गन है, उसको डोनेट करने से एटलीस्ट जो जिसका वाइटल्स ऑर्गन फेल्योर है उसको लग सकता है, तो वो शायद हमारा हंसी उसमें हम देख सकते हैं.
Subhajit, a class 2nd student, suffered brain seizure while appearing for a school test. He was rushed to the private hospital where he slipped into coma.
हमने जो फैसला किया था कि उसका अंगदान करने के लिए, उसके लिए वो कितने लोगों का जान बचाई है वो ऊपर वाला देख रहा है. और
both the kidneys were utilized for 2 patients in Apollo Bhubaneswar. Both the patients are now post-operative ICU care. They are stable and kidney is reasonably working well.
Shubhajit was cremated with state honours in Bhubaneswar last week. Bureau Report, India Today.
A story that will leave you slightly melancholic. Let me leave you though with a story that should bring a smile on your face. I don't know if you've seen Oppenheimer. I did, and it's a wonderful film. And today, on the big Oscars day, the cast and crew of Oppenheimer swept the awards. The magnum opus bagged a record 7 awards, including Best Picture, Christopher Nolan winning Best Director, Cillian Murphy becoming the first Irishman to get Best Actor, while Robert Downey Jr. won Best Supporting Actor. The Best Actress award, on the other hand, was bagged by Emma Stone for her stellar performance in Poor Things. But the night belonged to Oppenheimer and its team. And it is a team that has a message. We need to get rid of nuclear weapons and build a more peaceful world. Will that happen? Who knows? On that note, thanks for watching. You stay well, stay safe. Good night. Shubh Ratri. Jai Hind. Namaskar.